at those pixels, baby! When the PS1 hit the scene, it was, and still is, a big deal. History, however, could have played out very differently. Originally designed as a Super Nintendo disc-based add-on, Nintendo went back on its original deal with Sony to side with Philips, and we all know what came of that. Yeah. So, Sony said, fuck that, and released it for themselves as a standalone console, and boy did it hit big. Released to us in the United States in September 1995, we would be introduced to a bunch of new titles that are still carrying on to this day. With over 8,000 titles released in its 11-year lifespan, a lot of games tend to be overlooked and lost in a sea of gaming legends. So, that's our focus for today. Here are 10 PS1 titles that get overlooked way too often. At number 10, we have Evil Zone. Developed by Yuke's, and the cutscenes are animated by AIC, which is a company well known for their anime animations. Try saying that 4 times fast. Anime animations, anime animations, anime animations. The whole game is presented like an episodic anime you'd watch on TV.
Special Inspector Danzibar was summoned to the strange world of Iperselu to rescue his partner Yuri. A new program starting next week will feature Danzibar, the ultimate hero. Episode 1, the power of the supreme ruler to destroy an evil.
Each character has their own unique story with custom title movies and cutscenes for each character. The game consists of 10 playable characters, which I'm not going to pretend to try and pronounce half these names, each of which have unlockable costumes if you play through each story. The main antagonist, Ayadurka, is playable once the player beats them with each character. I immediately chose Danzivar because, come on, he looks like a jacked up Power Ranger. Danzivar, the ultimate hero! As stated before, each character has their own unique story that plays out like an anime, and before each battle, you can hear unique dialogue between you and your opponent.
Why are you here? You called me out for your own convenience, but didn't you come to stop me?
I'm not going to give you any excuses. After all, I don't think it's right to make people of different worlds fight against Ihadulka. Therefore...
Do you dare to stop us?
Don't be a drag. You're upsetting my plan.
So what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to make you stay out of my way.
The fighting occurs on a 3D field, so you can move forwards, backwards, and side to side. You use the triangle button for all your attacks, with each direction and triangle doing a different move. You can fight close up or from far away, giving you plenty of opportunity to explore possible combos and power attacks. When you press down in triangle, you attempt a grapple move, which is indicated by this red circle. Depending on the range in which it's initiated, will pull off a different cutscene and attack. If you hold triangle, you charge up your character Dragon Ball style, which gives you these diamonds which can in turn be used for power moves. These are the cat's ass and deal big damage. The hardest one to pull off is this one, that launches a slow red ball that, if it makes contact, deals massive damage to your opponent and can usually end the match real fast. Another move, if done correctly, is this pressure dash. If each player dashes towards each other at the same time, an interactive cutscene activates, and whichever player mashes the buttons the fastest wins the dash and deals damage, gaining the upper hand. Each character has their own unique playstyle, like Kaya, this guy, who uses magic cards and crazy ranged attacks, or Lindwell. Here I am trying to pronounce their names, who can shoot projectiles from his chest, and his sword attacks are devastating. One character that gave me big trouble was Midori, who is a brawler, and hot damn did she absolutely destroy me over and over and over again. Once I beat her, boy did I feel like a legend. One character who is absolutely disturbed is Kakurin, whose only goal in life is to cause suffering and death.
My only one purpose is to kill her. My only wish is to kill her.
Knocked down.
The final fight, Ayadurka, is hard but beatable with enough luck. It took me a few tries, but in the end, I am Danzivar, the ultimate hero! Coming in at number 9, we have Hellnight. Now, this is a unique title that I only discovered in the research for this video. I was trying to figure out why I never heard of this one, and then I found out. It was only released in Japan and Europe. It's a major bummer that we never received this one in the US. Known as Dark Messiah in Japan, I believe it has no connection to the other Dark Messiah titles. It was published by Atlas and Konami for the European version. It's a first-person horror game, which I can't think of any other games like this at the time of making this video. The plot is, you're in Tokyo at the end of the millennium, and you're on a train that gets derailed. And the vision changes to a monster that breaks free and kills a scientist, who turns into a zombie and breaks out into the subway. Turns out that the monster derailed your train, but you and your new schoolgirl companion Naomi, which it's a Japanese game of course, so it's a schoolgirl, are the only survivors. The whole atmosphere and perspective make this game a one-of-a-kind experience. You walk around, explore rooms, collect items, and solve puzzles to escape the area you're in. You never know what is going to be lurking around each corner, and your only means of survival is to run. No guns, no knives, not even a friggin' rock to throw at their stupid monster heads. The only way to survive is to run. When you first encounter the monster in the subway tunnels, at first you think, oh, he's kinda slow and dumb. I can manage this. But once he actually hears you and sees you, he will literally bolt at you, and that is terrifying. At one point, Naomi tells you that the monster is literally hiding around the corner, holding its breath, just waiting for you to come around so it can kill you. Like, that's some Jason Voorhees level murderer right there. If they do catch you, they will kill Naomi first, and then you next, so it's best to stay away. Along the way, if you do manage to survive, you'll meet other characters who will try to help you, if you help them. You know the classic trope. I know what you need to do, but first I need you to help me with something. Anyway, each level takes you through different parts of Tokyo, and you encounter new monsters with new methods of killing you. I wish I'd played this game when I was younger, because I would have loved it. If you haven't tried it, go see if you can find a copy to play. At number 8 is Dukes of Hazzard: Racing for Home. Developed by Sinister Games and published by South Peak Interactive. This is one of those games that for Christmas your grandparents would buy for you only because they knew you loved video games and they had already heard of Dukes of Hazzard, so it was a win-win scenario for them. This is how I also obtained a copy of Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX, which was okay, I guess, but I wasn't into BMX at the age of 8. Back on track here, this game is surprisingly fun, even today, albeit a little janky at times. The first thing you see is a loving recreation of the intro in all of its PS1 glory. Seeing the cars spinning in the corner gives me bad flashbacks of watching it spin for like 5 minutes at a time, hoping the game would work because it had this crazy scratch on the disc. Now, for the folks who have never been to or seen Hazzard County, let me give you a quick rundown. The Dukes of Hazzard, not those god-awful movie adaptations, was a TV show from 1979 to 1985 about Bo and Luke Duke getting into trouble with the law while also helping friends and family to help expose and evade County Commissioner Boss Hogg. The Duke boys are on probation for moonshine running, so they can't use guns, so instead they use bows and arrows, and drive a custom 1969 Dodge Charger called the General Lee with this distinctive horn. Now, back to the game. The main premise is you are driving to pay off the Duke farm between trying to win a race, escaping Roscoe P. Coltrane, stopping would-be robbers, helping Daisy Duke, or driving Boss Hogg's car while he's still trying to frame you in the end. There's a lot of variety in this game. Each level has a set goal, with sometimes a time limit or trying to get there before your car blows up. Every level also starts and ends with these very PS1 cutscenes.
Now hold on, boys. You gotta get the mortgage payment to the bank by 4 o'clock or we'll lose the farm.
Yes, sir.
They tried to make it feel like you were playing out an episode of a TV show, which is commendable. The driving can be a little wonky at times, as this game tends to get you moving fast and can be hard to control. You can get power-ups like boosts, oil slicks, car repairs, or a bow and arrow to damage your opponent's car. Also, the CPU doesn't give a damn about how they take you out, as they will drive into you with the force of a nuclear bomb if they have the chance. It's a fun racing game, and I'd recommend giving it a try. It's pretty short, but worth it. At number 7, we have the Hard Trilogy 2, Viva Las Vegas. Now, to my surprise, a lot of people didn't even play the first trilogy, let alone knew there was a sequel. Developed by Endspace, who I found out developed the Rugrats PS1 games and the Duke Nukem ones, and published by Fox Interactive, this game is a mix of third-person, first-person, and driving levels, similar to that of the first trilogy. Unlike the original, however, which had 3 separate storylines based off the 3 first movies, this second trilogy has a singular, original storyline that alternates between the 3 genres as it plays out. The third-person segments are action-packed with breakable windows, plenty of enemies, lots of guns to collect, and the enemy AI will actively hunt you down. The badge icon in the corner is your health bar, so keep an eye on that. Levels can range from a prison riot, a casino, the Hoover Dam, and plenty more. Enemies can range from regular thugs to SWAT, flamethrower guys, and more. A cool feature is when you pick up body armor, you can actually see him put it on, which was pretty unique. The first-person parts of the game, which plays like a usual arcade shooter game, can be played with either the controller, the PlayStation mouse, or the PlayStation light gun. I had to use the controller, which was stiff and hard to control. You can shoot enemies, explosives, and collect weapons, upgrades, and ammo. The driving scenes are nuts, with fast action and each one being different than the last. You could be trying to explode enemy cars, trying to escape the dam before you blow up, or going from point A to point B. This part you can use the driving wheel, which would have been helpful, but I don't currently own that. This game is loads of fun and one of my favorites on the PS1. At number 6 is Alien Resurrection. Developed by Argonaut Games, Alien Resurrection is a first-person shooter that allows the same plot as the movie by the same name. Taking place years after Alien 3, you play as the clone of Ellen Ripley, trying to escape the USM Auriga. The USM Auriga. This game was supposed to come out at the same time as the movie, but spiraled into a development hell and released a few years after the film. Right off the bat, this game immediately throws you into the thick of it, with an amazing atmosphere and honestly pretty good graphics for a first-person shooter on the PS1. Initially, you find a pistol at first, encountering human enemies as you fight your way through the ship. You have to avoid electric discharges, solve puzzles, and importantly, survive. The game starts to get intense once you encounter the aliens aboard the ship. You initially see one that is clung to the roof, waiting in a holding cell, but soon you'll find yourself coming face to face with one. They take a few shots but can be taken down, unlike Alien Isolation, which only merely inconveniences the alien. One of the more deadly enemies is the facehuggers that can impregnate you with a chest burster. If you aren't fast enough and find a device to remove it, it'll burst out of your chest and end your game real fast. The game does, however, feature a similar saving feature of that from Alien Isolation in the consoles you find on the wall. You get a variety of weapons from machine guns, shotguns, and flamethrowers to name a few. Ammo can be scarce, however, so every shot counts. The atmosphere of this game puts you on edge, and I highly recommend this one. Swooping in at number 5 is Assault Retribution. Developed by Candlelight Studios, a group of former Accolade designers, this was the only project developed by the studio. The best way to describe this game is Contra with aliens set in space, in the best way possible. You run and gun as either Reno or Kelly, fight your way through an endless horde of aliens to defend the city of Acadia from the incoming forces. Although the gameplay is simplistic, it is a load of fun, especially to run through with a friend in co-op. Weapons can range from a machine gun to a laser rifle, a saw blade shooter, and power-ups that can create a laser shield or one that shoots out a bunch of electrical currents, obliterating everything in its path. As you shoot the aliens, they lose body parts until there is nothing left of them. Each level ends with some sort of boss ranging from whatever that is to that thing. The part that gets tricky is when you have to platform, because it can be a little janky at times. This doesn't deter, however, from the overall experience. As simple as it is, it's loads of fun and worth a playthrough, especially with a friend. At number 4 is Road Rash 3D. Of all the Road Rash games that have come out over the years, this one seems to get the least amount of love, but honestly, I love it. Developed and published by EA, this is the first 3D game of its kind from Road Rash. Now, the flack started coming in once people realized the game focuses more on racing and less about actually doing combat while racing. The fighting is still there, however, and is still a big part of the game. It just isn't the main focus of the title. Nothing is more satisfying, however, than landing that punch or kick, or grabbing your opponent's weapons as you fly by them, and then later just smack them in the face until they fall off their bikes. The game consists of individual racetracks that can overlap one another. So you can see one part of a track in a different track if the two intercept, which is a really cool concept. The game soundtrack consists of music from Sugar Ray, Kid Rock, The Mermen, and more. The soundtracks are awesome, and hearing Mean Machine always makes me feel nostalgic. The main game mode is Big Game, where you race other racers, pick your bike in your track, and try to finish in first to earn the most money. The more money you earn, you can unlock different tiers of bikes, from racing bikes to road hogs. Also, this game has a plethora of 90s style videos that are just outright ridiculous, and I love them so much. Seeing a cutscene after finishing first or losing the race was awesome, or in between when it shows the different big dogs of the racing game. One hilarious feature is when you crash, there's a chance your bike can cause others to crash, or people just flat out run you over, which does screw up your positioning because it takes longer to get up, but it's hilarious nonetheless. You can ramp cars, run over pedestrians as your guy celebrates, or try and fight a motorcycle cop as he tries to pull you over. If they do, it's over for you. I would love to see this game get the recognition it deserves, despite its flaws. Coming in at number 3, we have Ninja: Shadow of Darkness. Developed by Core Design, is an action beat-em-up game as you play as Kurosawa, who is tasked with ridding feudal Japan of an unspeakable evil. This game gave me problems, even as a kid, for how difficult it can be. At first, it seems pretty straightforward. You can punch and kick enemies or throw kunai from afar. You can also use kunai to find hidden items littered throughout the levels. Then the game starts to throw sneaky traps on you, and you better watch out. You can trip tripwires to drop spears or a spike log, step in a bear trap, or get struck by lightning. There are trapped chests, ninjas will pop out at you, and lumberjacks try to drop whole f***ing trees on top of you. Everyone is out for blood, and you are what's next. There's even these giant mutant crabs that remind me of Mirelurks from Fallout. You can find swords in the wild which do additional damage. There's 2 different special abilities you can use, such as a flash bomb and a spinning kunai attack, both useful for cleaning up the screen. If you collect these scrolls, you can upgrade your abilities to deal out extra damage. Each stage has an end boss. For example, level 1 has the Minotaur looking thing that can be easily disposed of if you keep your distance. Once you beat the level, you enter the shop with this creepy shop owner who looks like he wants to eat you or something. Here you can buy power-ups and weapons or food to replenish your health. At the beginning of each stage, it'll show you the main boss of the level. Level 2 is this 2-headed dragon with football hands, and this one is slime? I feared the day when Nickelodeon slime would come and get me. Each stage varies from the last, giving you plenty of variety and enemies to work with. These skeleton enemies are annoying. You can destroy the lower half of the body, but I can't figure out how to destroy the torsos once they hit the ground. This beach level, you gotta take out fishmen, and they keep coming. All in all, this is a great game, but a hard one. It's definitely worth a play. At number 2, we have Future Cop LAPD. Developed by EA Redwood Shores, currently branded under Visceral, and this is definitely a unique title that stands out amongst the rest. You play as a mech suit called the X1 Alpha, cleaning up the streets of Los Angeles ED-207 style, but this suit can transform into a hover car for faster crime takedown. This game is a no-nonsense police kind of game, where you take no prisoners and destroy everything in your path. You start out in Griffith Park in the year 2098, cleaning the streets of annoying pests. It would bring a tear to RoboCop's eye. It plays in a more top-down style shooter, as you navigate between buildings, shooting criminals, vehicles, turrets, and more. There is an element of puzzle solving as you need to reach certain points or destroy certain objects to progress. Your mech suit boasts a large arsenal from homing missiles, machine guns, rocket launchers, and somehow these robotic dogs that home in and explode on impact. That is so cool. There's a wide variety of weapons to unlock with 100 different combos to choose from. If you need to cover ground fast, you can transform into a hover car and still dish out carnage to your heart's content. Each level has an end boss, where this one is a guy who took control of an observatory and turned it into a super weapon, but you blow that in Kingdom Come. Between the variety of playstyles and being able to do co-op if you and a friend wanted to unleash carnage together, this one is highly recommended. Finally, at number 1, we have the Unholy War. This is one of those titles I had growing up, and still I cannot believe how little some people know about it. Nowadays, this game has been gaining traction on the retro scene, but it still deserves love. Developed by Toys for Bob, nowadays known for bringing Spyro and Crash Bandicoot to the modern day consoles with 2 awesome trilogies, the first thing you see when you press start is a playable demo for Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, which is an awesome game in itself, easily one of my top 10 PS1 games. The Unholy War lets you play in 2 styles, an arena style game where 2 teams go head to head and last team standing wins. You can choose between the Arcanes, Technos, or you can go head to head in an all-in-one game with each team maxed out. Each character is unique from one another, each boasting a different playstyle and special abilities. Some are weaker than others but deal more damage, and of course some can do more damage to certain types than others. It's really simple, but it's also a big game of chess as you try to outwit and destroy the enemy team. My favorite characters are the Piranha, Jaeger, and Razorfane. There are a load of different arena types to choose from, and you can even randomize them for different arenas each time you fight. Last team standing wins, and even when playing against a friend, this game can be chaotic, yet oh so fun, time and time again. The other game mode is called Strategy Mode, where you choose a class to play with, and it plays out like a turn-style game of chess. Each board has different colored areas, each of which represent different arenas to fight in, depending on where the 2 characters intercept each other. My least favorite is the lava levels because you can accidentally take yourself out if you go near them too much. Same idea as before, you fight one-on-one until one team stands. Of course, Jaeger came out through because he's a tank. Literally. You can earn AUR, which can be used for special abilities on the game board, like launching nukes with Jaeger or healing with Kamikaze. If you need some mindless fun, this one is for you. In closing, this list is all a matter of opinion, and everyone can voice their own. Which ones do you remember? Which have you never played? Did I miss any good ones? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching!